you should have the idea that, okay, for example, let's say you picked MySQL. Now in MySQL, how you can create a database, how you can actually create tables on top of that database and then query on those tables like some CRUD operation on some data. You should have an idea that, okay, what all tables you are going to bring in, how exactly those tables are going to be related to each other. Concepts around ACID and transactions can be really helpful to understand Spring Boot. Even if you are going to go in a Spring Boot specific interview, there is a good chance that database related questions are also going to come into the picture. Linux is something that you are going to definitely interact with. If you have some knowledge about it, it's going to be definitely a great add-on. A lot of people are not able to answer, what do you mean by building a project? Knowing how to convert logic into code, basic problem solving is already a prerequisite. So if you're somebody who is actually willing to learn Spring Boot as a backend technology and want to advance their engineering career specifically with respect to Spring Boot, then a lot of times a question actually comes into your mind that what are the things that I actually need to know before I start learning Spring Boot? Because Spring Boot is not a micro framework. It's not like a very small framework that you can just get started with it in like 30 minutes. It's not suitable for that kind of like a development. So there is a kind of like a learning curve with Spring Boot, and before even you start with Spring Boot, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of nuances that are very important for you to learn so that your journey in Spring Boot is as smooth as possible. And in this particular video, I would like to actually answer that question, that what are the things you need to know before starting to learn something like Spring Boot. This complete knowledge is going to be very much relevant if you are going to use, instead of Spring Boot, something like, let's say, Python, Django, Ruby on Rails, whichever are the major frameworks, maybe in some other tech stack as well. So without any further ado, let's just start. But before starting the video, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing that, because we are going to put some really awesome content coming up ahead regarding tech and career. So let's just start.
Before moving forward, I would like to tell you about our brand new offering at Algocamp around the advanced Spring Boot backend development cohort. So we were getting a lot of requests to actually launch our next iteration of the Spring Boot cohort, and here we are. This one is far more bigger and better than the last one, and trust me, if you are somebody who is looking to start their journey in the world of Spring Boot in the backend ecosystem, or maybe you already know some things about backend development, maybe in Spring Boot or maybe in some other tech stack, this is going to be a one-stop solution for you. We are going to talk about everything from the absolute beginner level to the advanced level in Spring Boot. We are going to talk about how exactly you can set up your backend ecosystem and backend projects in Spring Boot. We are going to take a microservice-driven architecture and build different projects, including an Uber app, including Airbnb app, payment wallet like Paytm wallet app, and many more. We are going to talk about how exactly microservices can actually communicate with each other in synchronous and asynchronous fashion. We are going to see a lot of interesting microservices pattern like CQRS pattern, Saga pattern for distributed transaction, how you can implement Saga pattern through orchestration and choreography, how Saga pattern is going to help you with respect to the implementation if you compare that with two-phase commit, how you can implement each one of them, what is the outbox pattern, how exactly event sourcing is going to work, how you can integrate Kafka for your event sourcing, and whatnot. We are going to see so many interesting database concepts like how exactly NoSQLs are internally implemented using LSM trees, what are write-ahead logs, how you can replicate your databases, how you can shard your databases, how you can design a good database schema, and whatnot. All the topics that we are going to cover must be listed in front of you on the screen here. What I can say is that this course is going to be one-stop solution to become an advanced backend engineer in Spring Boot. This is definitely going to demand some good time commitment from all the students who are interested, but trust me, this is going to be one hell of a ride. So what are you waiting for? Do check out the link in the description section below and read the complete end-to-end syllabus of what we are going to cover in the Spring Boot cohort. You can actually use the coupon SPRING2025 to get maximum possible discount on the course, and I'm really excited to see you guys in the cohort. Right, do check out the link description section below, and let's get back to the video.
So the first and the foremost thing that you definitely need to know before you actually start your journey in Spring Boot is going to be the primary language on which the complete framework is based, which is Java. You need to know basic Java concepts. Now, the basic Java concept you can divide into two parts. One is Java core, one is Java advanced. In the Java core, you have the basic things like variables, conditionals, loops, functions, basic classes, class methods, class attributes, the collections framework of Java, and so on. This is kind of like the basics of Java. In this Java core or Java basics, you actually learn all of the things which are relevant for you to actually convert a logic into code, mostly around algorithmic stuff. Then comes Java Advanced. In the Java Advanced part, even if you don't know it like too much in depth, but you have like a fair idea, it's going to be a good to have. Java core is kind of like a must have. The Java Advanced part is kind of like a good to have. A lot of things that you have in Java Advanced, you will be able to understand them when you even start learning Spring Boot. But having the knowledge of it, it's kind of like a good to have. For example, you can try to learn about the fact that how exactly you can connect to a database through a Java code, like without any framework, without any like external third-party framework or third-party library, how using just the basic Java libraries, how you will be able to actually connect to a database. This is something that can come in Java Advanced. Apart from that, some deeper object-oriented programming concepts like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, all of these internal, or I would say interesting details about writing good code in Java. Apart from that, how exactly the JVM works, right? How exactly internally the Java code is actually executed. All of those things you can actually try to learn. You can actually learn about how things work in the networking world. That, let's say, if you want to make a network connection with a Java code, simple plain Java code, how you can actually do that. These are some, I would say, good to have things that if you know, it's going to just make the journey even more smoother. But even if you don't know about the Java Advanced thing, don't worry. Most of the things you will be able to eventually learn in, I would say, when you start learning Spring Boot. Just that the more object-oriented principles you know earlier, the better it is. Now, the second most important thing is going to be kind of like deeper understanding of object-oriented programming. Now, when I say object-oriented programming, I just don't mean that you should know classes, how to make object, how to do inheritance, so on and so forth. I mean like deeper OOPS concept. Like you should know what are solid principles, like what is single responsibility principle, open close principle, Liskov substitution principle, interface segregation, and dependency inversion principle. And it's not like you just know what are solid principles. You should be able to actually identify when a particular piece of code is not following a solid principle, and how and what kind of changes you can make to that particular piece of code to make it follow the solid principle. A lot of times in a lot of Spring Boot code bases, you will see that there's a lot of files, a lot of interfaces, a lot of classes being created, and sometimes you will feel lost because you are not able to relate all of those things with the concepts of solid principle just because you have never learned about it. So do get some understanding about solid principles. And again, solid principles, I believe, is a must-have. But specifically in solid principles, the D, that is the dependency inversion principle, it's kind of like a must-have. Like you should know what dependency inversion principle is. Why do you need it? What are the places where you will need it? Because there is a dedicated concept in Spring Boot which is going to be around inversion of control and how exactly Spring Boot actually helps you to do dependency injection. Both of these concepts you will not be able to get a good hang of if you don't know about the dependency inversion principle. Now, as I mentioned, solid principles is kind of like a must-have, but just in case you want to get slightly a bit more deeper, to know some more good to have things, then you can learn about a few design patterns, like the low-level design patterns, mainly something around builder pattern, strategy pattern, and a few more interesting design patterns like, let's say, factor design pattern, abstract factory pattern, singleton pattern, etc. Now, these design patterns you will see very heavily being used in Spring Boot code bases as well. But it's like, even if you don't know them earlier, eventually you will be able to easily get hang of it once you start coding in Spring Boot. So even if you don't know them prior, it's not going to make very big difference. But yes, it's good to have kind of like thing. If you know about them, it's kind of like great. For example, you'll find a lot of classes being created in Spring Boot, and there is a package called as Lombok. And you will see a lot of people using builders from builder annotation from Lombok being used on those classes. Now, at that point of time, if you already know about the builder pattern, it's going to just make your journey slightly a bit more smoother. But don't worry, once you encounter that, at that point of time also you can learn. It's not like a mandatory prerequisite, but knowing solid principles is a must-have. You cannot skip it at all. Now, this is something that a lot of people skip, but I would highly recommend you guys to not skip computer networks. Having basic understanding of how exactly two machines can actually communicate, right? Having basic understanding about the fact that how wirelessly two machines are communicating. I don't want you to go into kind of like the electronical aspect of it, but as a computer science engineer, you should know that, okay, in order for two machines to work, what are the network protocols available, what is HTTP, how it works on top of TCP, what is application layer, what is transport layer, what is network layer. These basic understanding of computer network should be there, because once you start writing code to turn up a Spring Boot server, that Spring Boot server is going to accept, let's say, an HTTP request. If you don't even know about HTTP request, you won't be able to get a lot of nuances around Spring Boot, right? Because your complete goal is going to be somehow revolving around computer networks. So knowing about basic HTTP, HTTPS request, TCP connection, how TCP is different than UDP, how exactly different, I would say, what is IP address, how exactly IP address allocation works, IPv4 versus IPv6, very basic concept, something like DNS, right? If you know already about DNS, it's going to help you a lot. So these computer networking concepts, some like basic computer networking concepts are going to be super helpful, and I believe it's a must-have if you want to start your journey with Spring Boot. I don't want you to learn like college level, a complete book on computer networks, but basic concepts you should have in your mind. Now, this is also kind of like a must-have that you have some knowledge around data storages and databases. You should know that like in scalable applications, you don't store data in, let's say, your Excel sheets, right? You have dedicated data store technologies, which you call as databases. What are databases? Why do you need it? And in my opinion, if you have knowledge about at least one database, it can be a relational database, it can be a non-relational database. For example, maybe something like as simple as MySQL or PGSQL, or maybe if you want to go with a NoSQL, then maybe something like MongoDB. But at least one database technology you should have some grasp of. And now, once you have decided which one you are actually going to go with, you should have the idea that, okay, for example, let's say you picked MySQL. Now in MySQL, how you can create a database, how you can actually create tables on top of that database and then query on those tables like some CRUD operation on some data. This is kind of like a bare minimum. And also you should have the idea about data modeling, that for example, if I give you a question that you have to store data of an e-commerce application, how will you structure that in a database like MySQL? So you should have an idea that, okay, what all tables you are going to bring in, how exactly those tables are going to be related to each other. For example, in MySQL, you have concepts of relations between the table. There can be one-to-one, one-to-many, many kind of like relationships, how you will be able to achieve these relationships with the tables and so on. This kind of like knowledge you need to have. Also, some good to have topics are kind of like normalization, that is going to help you to make sure that the redundancy in these tables are as less as possible. If you want to go slightly one more level deeper, then concepts around ACID and transactions can be really helpful to understand Spring Boot, right? Because if you see the most frequently asked Spring Boot questions, transactions and these database concepts are very frequently asked. Even if you are going to go in a Spring Boot specific interview, there is a good chance that database related questions are also going to come into the picture. Now, database is a subject in itself. It's not like you need to know everything. There are advanced concepts as well, like for example, indexing. There is concepts like partitioning, sharding. These are some things that you can even learn a bit later once you have started your journey with Spring Boot and you know how exactly to write good backend applications with Spring Boot. But the ones that I mentioned earlier are kind of like must-have, and even I also had all of that knowledge before I actually started learning Ruby on Rails, because in my case, Ruby on Rails was the major framework that I first started to learn, and then I migrated to other major frameworks like Spring Boot. So this is also kind of like a must-have thing for you. Now, I would like to add a couple of bonus topics. These are again good to have, even if you don't know them like very early. It's not going to hamper a lot of things, but if you know them, it's going to definitely make your learning smoother in the world of Spring Boot. For example, if you know about Linux commands, that's going to be great. It's a great add-on for your knowledge base, because eventually at some point of time you will be required to interact with Linux systems, maybe during your internships or your full-time work, or even during your own personal project work. Linux is something that you are going to definitely interact with. So having some basic knowledge around Linux command, how to control the complete Linux OS, is gonna be a great, I would say, add-on. Apart from Linux, I would say if you have some basic knowledge around, let's say, any cloud technology, something like, let's say, AWS, it's kind of like a good to have. Even if you don't know about it, it's okay. For example, I didn't know about it when I was learning my major frameworks. But if nowadays, if you have some knowledge about it, it's going to be definitely a good, great add-on. Apart from this, having knowledge about build systems is something that is good to have. A lot of time you will learn about build systems when you start learning with Spring Boot as well. But if you know about them earlier and you have slightly more deeper knowledge on them, you will be able to get a lot of interesting concepts easily. Because whenever some people actually learn Spring Boot, they just see things like Maven, Gradle, Bazel as like one of the files where they can just add third-party dependencies. But it's not like that. a lot of people are not able to answer what do you mean by building a project. Like if you are able to answer this question, you are in a good shape. And to answer this question, you need to know a bit more deeper understanding of build system. So that is also going to be a bit, I would say, an extra add-on that can be great if you want to have a great experience with Spring Boot. So these were some of the add-ons that I felt like can be great, but the other mentioned topics are definitely must-have, and you should definitely know all of them. Again, knowing how to convert logic into code, basic problem solving is already a prerequisite. I'm assuming that you already know about it, but these are some of the things that a lot of people used to get confused with. Now, I believe this video is going to help all of those people altogether. That being said, let's wrap this particular video here. If you have any question, please do drop them in the comment section below. I would be happy to answer all of that. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. I'm Sanket Singh, signing off.